There is something strange about being human. We obey people who are no longer alive. We keep promises when nobody is watching. We feel shame for things that nobody else will ever know. Sometimes, we become our own harshest judge. And that may be one of the strangest inventions of humanity. A judge is supposed to stand outside us, someone who watches, someone who decides. But somewhere along the way, the judge moved inside. A voice appeared, a voice that does not ask, "What will happen if someone sees?" but, "What kind of person have I become?" Was that voice always part of being human? Or did civilization slowly teach us how to judge ourselves? Imagine borrowing a sack of grain from your neighbor. After the harvest, you promise to return it. Nothing mysterious has happened. One person owes another. The obligation exists between two people. It is visible, practical, simple. When the grain is returned, the obligation disappears. The promise is complete. Nobody needs to carry it anymore. There is no hidden punishment, no invisible weight, only a debt fulfilled. But somewhere in human history, something changed. The obligation between two people became something we carried inside ourselves. History cannot show us the first guilty conscience. Thoughts leave no fossils. Feelings do not survive in the soil. Archaeologists discover tools. Historians recover documents. Psychologists study living minds. But nobody can excavate a feeling from 5,000 years ago. So perhaps the question is not, when did humans first feel guilt? Perhaps the better question is, what kind of world made an inner judge possible? Because guilt is not simply a feeling, it is a relationship between who we are and who we believe we should be. Children learn to keep promises. Families reward responsibility. Neighbors remember who can be trusted. Merchants depend on honesty. Judges punish betrayal. Religions give obligation a sacred meaning. Philosophers ask what it means to be good. Each of these solves an ordinary human problem. Nobody wakes up and decides, "Today we will invent guilt." Nobody tries to redesign the human mind. But over generations, these small solutions begin to overlap. A promise becomes a duty becomes a responsibility becomes a part of identity. What once existed between people slowly begins to exist within them. Civilization builds roads, cities, markets, laws, but perhaps its greatest achievement is quieter. It teaches us to carry its rules ourselves. The guard no longer needs to stand beside you. The law no longer needs to speak. The crowd has already disappeared, and yet something remains, a voice that asks, not what will happen to you, but what should you have done? Perhaps this is the hidden power of civilization. It does not only build walls around us, it builds invisible walls within us. We began with a simple question: who invented guilt? But perhaps that question was too simple. Ideas like guilt are rarely invented by a single person. They accumulate, slowly, across generations. A promise, a debt, a rule, a punishment, a belief, a memory. Layer by layer, human beings built something that did not exist before, an invisible judge, one that does not live in the world around us, but inside the mind itself. And perhaps the deepest question is not, who invented guilt, but when did we learn to carry the judge with us?